What does a country need the most? You could say it needs a lot of money, an abundance of natural resources, a strong economy and military. But there's something without which every country will just be an ordinary mass of land. People. People are what make a country. So what does a country do if it runs out of people? Remember, no economy can function without people. No military can fight without soldiers. Many countries are learning this the hard way. And now some of them are taking rather desperate steps to address their intense labor shortages. They're importing workers. Here's a report.
What are some of the things humans are famous for? Scientific discoveries, medical breakthroughs, space travel, and at a more primal level, procreation, making more babies. There was a big population surge in the second half of the 20th century. But that's an era long behind us. Today, developed countries are battling low birth rates. People aren't having enough children. And not having enough of these tiny humans is leading to a big problem. Countries like Germany, Japan, and Hong Kong are now resorting to importing workers to bolster their workforce. Let's take Germany first. Last year, Germany's labor shortage rose to an all-time high. There were over 1.7 million vacant positions throughout Germany last year. The signs were there all along. For years, Germany has faced a shortage of workers in a variety of sectors. The shortage is primarily because Germany's population is aging. But COVID only made matters worse. Now, Germany is planning to import workers from outside the European Union. The cabinet has approved a plan to reform the country's immigration system. Once passed by parliament, it will become easier for skilled workers from third world countries to work in Germany. So looks like Germany has given up on its people and now has to rely on immigrant workers to keep its economy up and running. The situation is much worse in Japan, which faces a severe labor crunch. In fact, Japan's population slump has become an existential crisis of sorts. For any country to maintain a stable population, it must have a birth rate of at least 2.1. This means a woman needs to give birth to at least 2 children. But do you know what Japan's birth rate is? At 1.3, far below the average. In fact, last year, the number of births in Japan fell to a record low. Last month, an advisor to Japan's Prime Minister said that the country would disappear if low birth rate persisted. Studies say that by 2040, Japan will face a shortage of 11 million workers. The situation is grim, and as time runs out, like Germany, Japan is also turning to foreign workers. Japanese companies are offering incentives to foreign workers to woo them, from allowances to deal with inflation to salary increments to skill training. In Hong Kong, the labor shortage has reached a critical stage. Hong Kong lost over 94,000 workers last year alone, the biggest drop in its working population. And in the past 4 years, since the pro-democracy protests started, the city has lost more than 220,000 workers. It hasn't been able to recover, and the hits keep on coming. John Lee Kachil is the chief executive of Hong Kong. You can call him Xi Jinping's proxy in power. He says Hong Kong will need to import workers if local recruitments fail to ease the intense worker shortfall. Hong Kong's case is more peculiar than the others. Not only is its population aging, but there's also an exodus underway. People are leaving Hong Kong to escape the CCP and its draconian national security law, further aggravating the crisis. So, as countries battle a dwindling population and a depleting workforce, there seems to be only one solution in sight: the foreign worker.